What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh. This is Overlanding Now, and today what I want to talk about are the top 5 things, essential items that every overlander needs. Now, if you're new to overlanding or you've been doing this for a while, this list is what I've came up with that are the most important items that you're going to need before you start your first trip or while you're going through your overland build. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you've been here for a while, I'd love to hear your comments about the top 5 things you have in your rig when you take off on your trip. So in this video, we're gonna discuss those items. I'm gonna go over the ones that I like and the ones that I never leave home without. And then I'm gonna put links to everything that I have in the video in the description. So if you like them, you can buy them. If you don't buy them. All right, here we go.
I've been running with lightning feet. Nah, 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 nah. Hear that thunderbolt following me. Nah, 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 nah. Baby got wild on these same streets. Nah, 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 nah. But I'm still running, nobody catch me. Nah, 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 nah. Yeah, move with it.
Okay, the first thing I want to talk about on the top 5 essential overlanding list is your rig. Now, there's a lot of speculation around your rig and what you need, what you should have, and everybody has their own opinions, and everyone's opinions are great, but the reality is everyone's situation is different. So the most important thing you need is a capable off-road vehicle. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. It doesn't have to be the newest. It doesn't have to be the baddest beast on the block. But what you need is a capable rig that can get you from point A to point B with as little interruption mechanically as possible. Now, that rig, in my opinion, should have a decent amount of clearance. You don't need the biggest lifted truck in the world to go overlanding. Everyone knows that. And we covered that on the last video, which I'll link up in one of these corners. And your rig just needs to be capable. There are so many rigs on the market today that are absolutely capable in their stock form. Behind me sits our rig, completely stock in terms of suspension. Now, there are a lot of other modifications that have been done that I deemed as far more important than a lift or any type of suspension components. Now, I have talked in the past about what lift to get and are they important, and we are going to get a lift. We are going to do those modifications, but what was important to us was just a capable off-road vehicle. Something with good clearance, good 4-wheel drive. A front and rear locker is probably not a bad idea, but it's not absolutely necessary. A rear locker, I would say, is more necessary than having both, and not every vehicle comes with front and rear lockers. Now, our Jeep is the Rubicon. It's a 2020, so it does come with front and rear locker and a disconnecting sway bar. It's an auto disconnect. You just press a button and it disconnects. It's not an old school version where you had to get out and disconnect your sway bar yourself. But even if you have to disconnect your sway bar yourself, it's not a big deal, but those are the items that are important. Now, not everybody's going to have all of those components. Like I said, it's totally fine. But is your vehicle capable of tackling the terrain that you intend to try to tackle? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. And however you shore that up is entirely up to you, but just having something that is capable of getting you from point A to point B with minimal mechanical interruptions. Now that we covered number 1, and that's very obviously your rig, the second thing I want to talk about is recovery gear. Now, recovery gear is probably the single first, if not second, most important thing you need in your rig in the event that something happens. Now, if you're traveling with a group of people, obviously you can kind of spread that recovery gear out where one person has your high lift jack, one person has your max tracks or your traction boards, and everybody kind of carries a different component. But if you travel alone like we do most of the time, we have to have all of this stuff on board at all times. So outside of the recovery gear, there's several of pieces to this, right? Recovery gear isn't just one thing. There are hundreds maybe of components that you can add on to your recovery toolkit in the event that something happens. But what I want to talk about today is just like the essentials, the stuff that you need and that every rig should have. So the first thing that I want to talk about is a tow strap. This tow strap, I've had this thing for like 10 years, and it's just an old, massive, strong, tried and true tow strap. Now, your tow strap can be used for obviously a variety of different things, mostly winching yourself out, winching around a tree, winching other people out, getting pulled out, pulling things out. But the tow strap is like the basic component that I would say you need. Now, leading up to the tow strap or heading into it, you're going to want a winch. Now, we use the Smittybilt XRC winch on our Jeep, and that thing has literally been used a single time, but it was a very important piece of equipment to have in that one moment. And that's kind of the problem with recovery gear, and you have to dial it into essentials. What do I need? Because I can have a recovery toolkit that is, you know, a huge box because there's so many different gadgets and there's so many things that you can have, but the basics are a tow strap. A tow strap is absolutely essential. The second thing that is absolutely essential, in my opinion, is the tire patch kit. Once again, this tire patch kit has never been opened. Well, I've opened it to look at it, but I've never actually had to use it. And the nice part is, you probably won't that often, but that time when you do, let's say you're on the trail and you throw your spare tire on because you caught a hole, you caught a rock and you put a hole in your tire. Well, now you're down to your 4 and only tires. You get another hole, you're gonna need to try to patch that because there are no spares. So a tire patch kit is absolutely essential, and I wouldn't leave home without it. I never do. We always have one. I haven't had to use it yet, but I'm not saying that you won't. Another item, super simple, but so many different uses. Tie downs, ratchet straps. Have ratchet straps in your vehicles. I have ratchet straps in every single one of my vehicles every single day. Not because I think I'm gonna need them, but because I always can use a ratchet strap. Whether we're getting a Christmas tree and I'm tying it down to the roof of my Jeep, or we're grabbing lumber from the store and we're in the Jeep, or 100 different reasons that you could use a ratchet strap. So a ratchet strap, carry those in your vehicle at all times. One of the other really important items that I feel is extremely imperative to have on your rig at all times, traction boards. Traction boards, once again, I have never had to use these once. And I made my own little spare tire mount, and I'll put that link in the video. And it has my shovel, if you can see it. It's got a mount that goes to my spare tire. And I've just Velcroed and zip tied the shovel onto the traction boards. I've screwed into the traction boards, into the mount, and this is on my spare tire. I've never had to use them a single time, which is fine. But we travel alone and we need to be prepared. So that's why in terms of recovery gear, I consider that one of the most essential items. Now, the last thing I would say are bungee cords. We have bungee cords, once again, in our vehicles at all times, regardless if we're going to the store to pick up groceries or I'm going on a 5,000 mile trip across the country. I always have bungee cords in my vehicle because they're multi-purpose and you can use them for just about anything. So from a recovery standpoint, if you have a winch, a tow strap, a tire patch kit, ratchet straps, bungee cords, traction board, and a shovel, that can literally complete your entire recovery kit for now. Once you start expanding and you run into more situations, maybe there's something you want to change. But that is the basics for recovery gear. Okay, third on the list, which quite honestly should be number one on your list, but it's just not as glamorous. First aid kits. Now, I have two of them. These first aid kits are from Surviveware, and I think they're about $100. They come with everything that you need for a basic first aid starter kit. You could definitely expand on this if it's something that you want. I'm going to link this in the description below because I kind of work with Surviveware where I purchased these. They didn't give them to me for free, but I love their product. So I'll put their link down in the description if you want to go check them out if you need a new first aid kit. But first aid kits are absolutely imperative and extremely important in your trip. We have two. I keep one on the boat and one in the Jeep. These are on the boat or in the Jeep all the time. I never leave home without it. And that's because you never know what you're going to get yourself into. In my rig, I want that thing to be pretty much outfitted all the time. Minus, I don't want to drive around with a tent. I don't want to drive around with 15 gallons of water and extra fuel because that's, for me, it's unnecessary. But that first aid kit is with us all the time, and it should be with you all the time. And when you're on the trail, if something were to happen and you cannot get medical attention for 75, 80, 100 miles, and maybe 50 of those miles are dirt, you're going to need to be able to at least assess a wound or an injury and treat it the best way you can until you can get to professional help. So make a first aid kit a part of your top 5 overlanding basic components. Number 4 on the list for us, and these are in no particular order, so don't think that this is like the list of importance. But number 4 on the list is somewhere to sleep. Now, a lot of people will say that somewhere to sleep is a rooftop tent. Some people have a teardrop trailer. Some people camp on the ground. Some people sleep in hammocks. Some people sleep outside, completely exposed to the elements. Whatever it is that you do, you just need to make sure that you have somewhere to sleep. We use a Smitty-built Overlander rooftop tent. And there's a couple of reasons we bought that tent. The first reason, the price. It's $980. $980 is still expensive for a tent. I don't care what anybody says about their construction or durability. The rooftop tent market is borderline extortion. But that's literally a topic for some other day, sitting around a campfire talking about conspiracies. But today, the Overlander tent from Smitty-built, the reason that we got it was because it's price. And Smitty-built has a great reputation of producing good products. And we absolutely love that tent. Now, the only issue that I see with our tent, and I'm just giving advice on this specific tent because this is the only one I really have experience with, is it's about 9.5 to 10 inches tall off the top of the Jeep, and it's a wind sail. And that is the benefit of going with a hard shell tent. But hard shell tents are 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times the price of a soft shell tent. Now, if you're not into the rooftop tent thing, that's totally cool. You can sleep on the ground in a tent. There are hundreds and hundreds of really reliable tents. Now, if you're going to go sleeping in sub-zero temperatures or below freezing temperatures, I would not get a cheap tent. I would spend the money on an expensive tent that can insulate you properly because, coming from experience, 17-degree weather and camping in a tent is cold. Don't care how many blankets you got. It's really cold. So it doesn't matter what kind of tent you have or what you use to sleep in. Some people even sleep in their Jeep, which is also awesome because you don't have to purchase any extra pieces of equipment. So keep that in mind. You just need a place to sleep. That is one of the overlanding essentials, a place to sleep. How you choose to do it is entirely up to you. Number 5 on the top 5 essentials for overlanding for beginners is food and water storage. Now, you notice that I'm not going to say anything about cooking because cooking is not really an essential. I like to cook. I prefer to cook. I enjoy it. I do it at home. I do it on the trail. So cooking for us is a big part of it, but that experience isn't absolutely necessary. You can get any type of food that you want that's just sustenance while you're on the trail. Some people are extremely diehard and they don't eat regular meals. But some people like myself, we like to cook. So cooking is not an essential Food is an essential, but cooking it and how you cook it is not. But how you transport that food and how you transport that water across country or wherever it is that you're going, that is important. For us, this box is kind of heavy. For us, all we use for our food storage is, where's that sticker? Sterilite totes. They fit really good in our Jeep. So we have that hook road platform rack in the back, and I can get 2 of these stacked up there perfectly. My Goal Zero in between it, and then a water container in between that. Keeps everything snug, and it works perfectly. But just a simple box to store your food. Something that's easily accessible, something that's not extremely expensive. There's a lot of boxes out there that you can spend a lot of money on, or you can go cheap and it works perfectly. We got 5 of them. I'll put the link in the description. We got like 5 of them for $23, and I literally use all 5 of them all the time. They haven't broken. So I would say for the food component and how to travel with it, that's what we use. Now water's a little bit different because A, it's heavy, B, it takes up a lot of space. So when you're packing out your rig, it's already getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Well, the size of your family or the size of your group is what dictates how much water you need. And I drink a lot of water. I try to drink at least a gallon of water every single day. I don't always achieve it, but I try. So for water, I know that if we're gonna be off the trail for 7 days, I need at least 7 gallons for myself. That's just drinking, okay? That's not cooking, that's not cleaning, that's not showering, that's not coffee. So for us, we have to carry a lot of water, and I choose to carry as much water as I can possibly carry without cramping everything or messing up our situation with the way we pack. So the first thing I would say, Aquatainer, 7 gallons. Now, I only carry one of these. I have a 7 gallon and I have a 5 gallon, and I'll put this link in the description. It's a simple design. It's a square, kind of, and you can pack it away. Super simple. That's 7 gallons, okay? So if we're doing the math, that's 7 gallons. That's all I need for a week. Now, I also carry, on my trail racks mounting system, is 2 of these. And these are 2 gallons a piece, roughly. We're gonna call it 2 gallons. So you got 2 gallons here, and I carry 2 of these. So that's 4 gallons. 4 plus 7, that's 11 gallons. I'll put the link to the Rotopacks, and I'm sure everybody knows where to get Rotopacks. And then the last thing that I carry, and this is kind of a new addition, I'll put a link up here to the video I did about it because it's really awesome. The water port. Now this is a pressurized water system, and it has a little spot over here, if you can see that basically you hook it up to your compressor and it pumps it up. It fills it. The most you're supposed to fill it with is 50 PSI, but that carries 3.8 gallons. So we got 7 and we got 4, that's 11, plus 3.8, we're gonna call it 4. That's 15 gallons of water that we carry at all times. Now, as you're traveling, your water load gets lighter and lighter and lighter, so you know your weight's kind of shifting around, but that's just kind of part of learning your rig and kind of understanding, well, I'm starting the day with 15 gallons of water, and in 3 days I'm probably gonna have 7 or 6. So, you know, trying to manage that load is something that every single person has to do and kind of has to figure it out on their own. But from a drinking water, cooking water, cleaning water, that is what we carry, and I feel that that is absolutely essential to your overland rig. So that does it for the top 5 essentials for your overland rig. Now, let's go over them again. Your rig itself doesn't have to be the best, biggest, baddest beast on the market. You need your place to sleep. You need your water storage. You need your recovery gear. And last but absolutely not least, you need your first aid kit. I'm gonna link all of the descriptions. I'm sorry, that doesn't even make sense. I'm gonna link all of this stuff in the description below so you guys can take a look at it. And if it's something that you wanna buy, cool. When you purchase it off Amazon, we get a tiny commission for that. And it helps the channel. It helps us continue to do this. Like I said, I'll never ask you for money, but if you want to purchase something from one of our links, that is a way to kind of help us out because the stuff's expensive. But whatever, not your problem, that's mine. So, if you guys like the video today, please do me a favor, please like the video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you can come along for the adventures and get some more information like this. And if there's anything that I missed or anything that you think I brushed over or didn't touch on enough, please leave that in the comments because it helps me understand what you guys want to see, but more importantly, it tells YouTube people are watching the video. So, I'll see you guys later. Peace.